Global coal use has rebounded after plummeting at the height of the pandemic. The International Energy Agency, which predicts that global coal use, says it'll rise to 8.77 billion tonnes this year. And it's set to plateau until 2027 as more power is generated from renewable energy sources and coal consumption in China starts to level off. China is particularly important for global coal markets. 1 in every 3 tonnes of coal consumed worldwide is burned at a power plant in China as it continues to try to diversify its power sector. This report highlights advanced economies banning coal completely, but says demand for coal is increasing in emerging economies and coal prices are now 50% higher than the average cost between 2017 and 2019. Well, Lauri Myllyvirta is from the Centre for Research on Energy and Clean Air and a senior fellow at Asia Society Policy Institute. Lauri, this is pretty depressing reading, isn't it?
It is for sure, so especially the fact that the projection for the next years was revised up. We thought last year, the International Energy Agency thought last year that we could expect a falling trend in global coal demand over the next 3 years. Now it turns out that the best case scenario looks like more of a plateau because of faster energy consumption growth.
I mean, the reality is, even sort of looking ahead to 2027, given the massive demand from things like data centers, cloud computing, artificial intelligence software, I mean, it really is naive, isn't it, to suggest that coal use is going to plateau anytime soon?
A plateau is what we're looking at the moment. The projections for energy demand have gone up. But the deployment of clean energy sources has also gone up very impressively over the past years. So now it looks very finely balanced. The IEA central scenario is for a very slow increase in coal consumption. But if you look at the uncertainty, it could just as well come down. And the main swing factor is how fast does China deploy clean energy and does China's abnormally fast electricity consumption growth normalize over the next years?
The truth is, stuff happens in these projections, doesn't it? Things like the Ukraine crisis change the demand on coal, and suddenly it spikes hugely. All you need is another global upset like that.
But that's certainly true. This is a projection, but it's a projection that captures what the structural factors are at the moment, and that's why it's still significant. But so far, the International Energy Agency has very consistently underestimated clean energy growth, and that's the main factor that could, in fact, make things look brighter if clean energy growth continues to accelerate in China and elsewhere.
The big thing about the global economy at the moment is that in many parts of the world it's struggling. There isn't huge amounts of money for national governments to do what some might say is the right thing, and that makes infrastructure investment difficult, doesn't it?
That is true when you're talking about things that governments need to spend money on. The thing about clean energy, especially solar, also wind, is that it's profitable at the current electricity prices just about everywhere. So the only thing that the governments need to do is get out of the way, speed up permitting, make it easier to build these things. And for most countries, that will be enough. The exception is very low-income developing countries where capital is expensive, and that's where public financing from the rest of the world is needed to make it happen.
Lauri, good to see you. Thank you for that. Lauri Myllyvirta from the Centre for Research on Energy and Clean Energy.